Welcome back, everybody, to Nonsense and Nothingness.
Welcome.
I'm Connor.
I'm Seth.
We're just hanging out, drinking some whiskey,
Doing our thing.
talking about life.
And what do we have here, Connor? What is that in your hand?
This is some 1792 small batch whiskey. Is it bourbon? Yeah, bourbon. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
Kentucky Straight.
It's real good. Not that I know that yet, because we haven't tried it yet, but it's real good.
Right. So full disclosure, both of us have tried this whiskey before.
Full disclosure. Like people are going to be mad at us. Like we made a deal.
Yes.
We'll always try new whiskeys.
I mean, we definitely did not get this for free or anything like that, but we have tried it before, so this is not our first time really trying it.
It's good.
But it is good. It is a good one.
I read an article about this guy who is a world whiskey expert, and supposedly this is about $30 where we are, but supposedly even at that price point, it is one of the better whiskeys in the world, which is a very large claim. It's a that's high praise. So. Okay. Us and our astute palates will let you know if that's true.
Well, yeah, we'll let you know if it translates, if that whiskey expert knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So, so this is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, as Connor said. 46.85% alcohol.
Let's go.
Per volume. So that would be 93.7 proof for you academic studs out there.
Chemical engineer? What?
Anyways... that's a very specific alcohol percentage.
It really is. Do you think that's by design?
To four significant figures, just to show them people that they care?
I mean, I guess it's by design. This bottle, well, this is distilled and bottled by the same company. I think we've talked about when you're buying whiskey, if you're paying a high price, you want to be looking for a whiskey that is distilled and bottled by the same people.
Right.
Because if it's not, that's indicative that it was bought and then upcharged and bottled by somebody else. But this bottle indicates care. It's very simple, but it's unique. There's some gold accents.
Mm-hmm. And I love the leather strap around the neck and like the gold... I guess plating of the top of the cork. I mean, it looks very good and metallic-y, and to be quite honest, kind of expensive.
Yeah.
It looks expensive.
It does.
But it's not priced like a super expensive bottle.
I mean, it's not bottom shelf, but it'd
be right in the middle. It'd be
middle.
Eye level or maybe a little lower, honestly.
Yeah. So let's open it up and pour up.
Satisfaction.
Oh, that one was good.
That was a great one.
That one was good.
And of course, we're pouring into our Jack Daniel's glasses.
All right, so you just need to tell me when.
That'll be good enough. Thank you, sir.
Just to start. All right. Cheers. Let's open it up.
Cheers.
Yeah, I'm going to need more of that.
So I think it really does a great job of balancing flavors. I think that's what you kind of get with this whiskey. Like, there's alcohol taste, and it's throughout. And there's, like, a spice. Way to go, Connor.
My bad.
There's, like, a spice flavor, and it's kind of throughout. And it's a little bit sweet, and it's kind of throughout. It's just a really well-balanced whiskey, is my first impression.
It's also mellow. You know? Like, on the right at the initial sip.
Right.
You're like... Is this water? For like half a second. Not even that long.
Right. There's no like punch you in the face alcohol flavor, which I think is indicative of a whiskey that's, a sipper.
Yeah.
That's not, it's not a Jim Beam or anything like that, or some other whiskeys we've tried. Oh boy. This is a good whiskey.
Yeah. I would agree.
So initial ratings, I'm going to give this one an 8.6.
I was going to also give it an 8.5, so we're right there.
We're right there.
Yeah, it's really good. I enjoy it. I don't know if it's my favorite whiskey I've ever had, but it's good.
It's one of those whiskeys. It's not super outstanding, I think, in any like one particular category, but it's just
Jack of all trades, master of none. Is that what you're saying here? That sounds so negative.
It does.
I've always
has a
heard
negative
that phrase is like, or thought that phrase kind of sucks.
Yeah. If somebody says, "Hey, man, you're not excellent at anything."
But you are acceptable.
But you are above average in a majority of categories.
Which, if you think about that,
that's better than
that's
a lot of
pretty
people.
good. I mean, there are 7 billion?
Yes.
7 billion people on the face of this planet. If you're above average in the majority of categories of whatever matrix you're in, you're beating probably over 4 billion people. That's pretty dope.
That's really good. Yeah. So I agree. Most people are just, below average in everything.
Losers.
Yeah. You're beating all the losers out there.
You're beating all the losers.
There are a lot of losers.
So this week, Seth.
Yes.
I had a discussion with one of my friends about a very interesting topic.
You look a little too excited for me to feel safe right now.
Well, no. It was an enjoyable conversation. And the topic was the steady decline of the English language.
Ooh. Okay.
And what I mean by that is so this guy's not a douchebag, regularly not a douchebag.
Okay.
Part of his comedy, his sense of humor is just to like be the douchebag frat bro, but he's never actually serious about that.
Okay.
At least most of the time. And he looked at me and said, "Hey man, this weekend, I'm just looking for a bit," did not say bitch, said bit, "to gobble my peen."
Yes. And that is
and
indicative.
I looked at him and I said, "What are you doing?"
Huh?
Yeah. And then we dove into the steady decline of the English language, and it just made me chuckle. It was a good time.
So, frat boy slang is a fascinating topic in itself. Do you think that the use of the English language in such a curt way, do you think that is indicative of a decline?
Well, I would say, obviously, I think that there's like 2, potentially even more, probably more, but 2 fields of English, right? There's colloquial English, and then there's proper English. Colloquial being, this is what I use with my friends when I'm out at a bar, when I go out to eat with my friends, whatever. Even when I'm talking to my family. And then there's traditional or proper or business that you use at work or in professional settings. And so, I don't think that English is declining in the sense of in the professional world, but definitely within popular culture. I mean, there are so many words that we use that don't actually have a meaning, but they also mean everything at the same time. And what I mean by that is a word like yeet.
Well, okay, yeet. I always thought the meaning of the word yeet was to hurl or to throw something.
Okay, see, that is where it originated, but yeet is a really interesting case because it has developed and morphed very quickly. I hear it used in the phrase of, "Oh, he just yeeted himself," as in, like if you see a skateboarder take an L,
Right.
he yeeted himself.
Yeeted all over the place.
But there's another thing. I heard someone refer to vomiting. Someone said, "Just yeeted everywhere." Yeet is quickly becoming everything while also meaning nothing.
Right.
Because it's yeet. I don't even think that's in the dictionary.
Right. I mean,
I kind of hope it is, though.
And you can look back, I think, over time and look at some of the fad words, like YOLO. You can look back at some of these words and think, what were we thinking? But also, every generation, I think, had their catchphrase.
You're right. But, see, to me, YOLO was immediately douchey the second it was...
You don't think yeet is douchey?
I mean, yeet is just funny. Tell me, you have never... Anytime you hear someone really use the word yeet and, use it well, it's hilarious.
Now, I think there's something to be said about yeet, like the syllables being inherently funny.
Yeah.
Just because the word itself sounds, I don't know, childish.
I know.
I guess.
It's great. It's a phenomenon. I don't know. You can't explain it.
And I think that pronunciation of like eat or yeet, I think it just comes off as very close to other words that we would use. And so you can kind of just fill it in as like a sound placeholder.
Yeah.
And, it's effective. It's a little one-syllable fun word to say.
I think yeet is here to stay.
Really?
See, I don't think anyone seriously says YOLO, I think there was that one Lil Wayne and Drake song, and that blew it up for a little while.
Right.
And but very few people actually say YOLO. I never hear that, really. Mm-hmm. I hear yeet every day of my life.
So there are a couple things to break down here. One, I think there are words that we use in our colloquial English that are direct placeholders. And one example I can think of is cap. Mm-hmm. You've heard of that. So no cap means no fib, not lying. I'm not trying to screw you over. Mm-hmm. And those kind of words are kind of direct replacements. You also have words like finesse, mm-hmm. where the word finesse itself is a noun, and it's not a verb. But you can use it as a different...
finesse it in there.
I'm a finesse the plug, as it is commonly referred to. I will finesse...
What's a plug?
The plug.
Yeah.
And, finesse meaning like... scam or get through, gain an advantage. So you can use a word as a different part of speech, but the word yeet was an entire creation. It's not a word. It's not like
that's
a
what
word.
I'm saying.
It's
not a word. It means nothing, but it means everything.
It was a created word.
Mm-hmm.
So I do see where you're going there. I think the word yeet as a new invention in English language, I mean, it could be here to stay.
I mean, like, it has context. It's usually I usually hear it in the sense of if something is thrown, if someone falls, if someone gets hurt. I've heard it being used as vomit recently. Mm-hmm. But I've also just heard it as an expression.
Like an interjection.
Yes, like someone says something and your reaction is yeet. Like, seriously.
Your reaction is just the word yeet just immediately comes to mind.
Seriously. And I don't know if it's the people that I'm hanging out with.
Maybe you're just hanging out with a little too many frat douchebags.
I mean, my roommate shortens everything.
Okay.
So, like,
Yee?
No, so not something like that. But a couple days ago we were talking, and he was like, "Yo, did you see LSU is ranked number 1 in the nation?"
Okay. Now there is something a little skater boy like, shredding the nar on the pow.
But it's kind of his thing. And like yesterday, he was like, "Hey, did we pay the Utes? The utilities?"
Oh my god, that's pretty bad.
But I love it. It's so funny.
That reminds me of a lot of the girls I've been hanging out with recently refer to their favorite wine as Cab Sav.
Oh.
Cabernet. Mm-hmm. Sauvignon.
No, but they can't say the second word, especially after a couple glasses in.
Right. Just give me the Cab Sav. Mm-hmm. I just really... Can we get the Cab Sav? So, yeah, I think English colloquial language, you shorten words, you make contractions, you figure out weird placeholder words for words that we can't think of. I mean, such is just the result of speaking a language and communicating with people. Like, the thing about the word yeet is that everyone kind of gets it.
Yeah, just immediately.
Right.
You understand yeet, even though it's relatively brand new. I mean, it's like, when did people start saying yeet? Like a year ago?
Mm-hmm. I think yeet is an example of how powerful context is for individual words. Yeah. Like, our language is not based on individual words. It's more so based on like the context of the sentence, how you use it, and that's really a huge difference between the written word and spoken word. Is that you can put emphasis on a word, on how it sounds, and that conveys meaning. which I think yeet is an example of a word that has, like you said, has no actual meaning, but the only meaning it gives is conveyed through the pronunciation and the energy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it would have the same effect if it were written down. Like, hey man, you yeeted a little too hard last night. If that was written on a piece of paper, I don't think it would have the same effect.
Yeah. And so in that context, I read that as you partied too hard last night.
Right.
You know? And so that's what I'm saying is that, like, you could say that, though, and people would get what you meant.
Absolutely.
It might be a stretch, but people would get what you meant. And I just thought it was an interesting conversation that really made me laugh whenever he said, I'm just trying to get a bit to gobble my peen.
And was this your roommate who really enjoyed?
No, this is not my roommate. Okay. This is not my roommate.
Shortening words.
You know who this was.
I have a feeling. Anyways, Connor, I have something that I
was wondering what that was.
Purchased recently.
Seth has an item in his hand.
It's a triangular shaped box, and on the inside are glasses.
Okay, where is this going?
Now, Connor, as you may know,
we're just making a lot of noise tonight.
As you may know, I do not suffer from vision impairments.
That's what I was about to say.
I actually have really good vision.
Flex,
yes. But I've always wanted glasses, and there's this new fad.
Are these those are blank lenses?
These are
they?
Blank lenses, but they have one redeeming quality, which is, I think, an excuse for everyone who doesn't have glasses to get them. They're blue light glasses.
Okay, so yeah,
and
which is apparently an increasingly important thing in today's modern age.
It really is. And I remember when these things used to be relegated to gamers. Like, I would you would watch gamer streams and they'd be wearing these ugly yellow glasses, and you would think, like, oh man, this guy stares at a computer screen that much.
What
a
loser.
Now everybody is on the phone for like 7 hours a day. For people whose jobs require them, like graphic designers, for people whose jobs depend upon them staring at a screen and like understanding where each pixel and each pixel, having glasses that can kind of filter out a lot of the quote-unquote bad light can really help with eye strain and keeping you sharp.
For sure.
So I've bought a pair of these. They are not expensive. They are not even close to comparable to like the price of prescription glasses. I mean, these are things for like $20.
Yeah. I'm a glasses man. Glasses
Connor
are
does
expensive.
Wear glasses. Connor likes his glasses, but I thought it was interesting, and I've been talking to some people who work in some offices on campus, and they were like, "Yeah, all the HR people wear them. Like most people in a professional workplace now who have to stare at screens, they're wearing these things."
Do you like them?
I do.
Is there any noticeable?
Actually,
anything?
Kind of. So, I did used to get a little bit of like eye watering when I would watch screens too long, and
interesting.
Could be because I'm a giant pea.
I personally have never experienced that. I wasn't gonna say that.
Right. I mean, it could definitely be, and it could be a little bit of placebo effect, but I don't get it as much. Like, it's still a little bit, and they gave out this testing kit that came with it. I don't have it with me, but they gave me this little card and a blue light.
You got a card.
And you're supposed to, and it's a card that's reactive to blue light, and then you put your eyeglasses in front of it, shine the blue light, and it doesn't react.
Oh.
So that's kind of...
because it's filtering that light.
The proof in the pudding.
Interesting.
But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on it, and also fake glasses in general. Do you feel like it's cultural appropriation of the eye impaired?
I'm not sure that's the proper context for cultural appropriation.
Disability appropriation.
Yeah. I have a disability, which is my eyesight. No.
Yeah.
My eyesight is... I am on the lowest corrective lens, so I'm decent. Mm-hmm. The thing is it's only an issue whenever I'm like very far away from small writing, very far away being like 30 to 40 feet. But
so like street signs
and leaves. You like...
Really?
Yeah. So before I had glasses, This is the thing, to everybody out there who's never put on a pair of glasses and you think your vision is fine. Find a pair of glasses that are corrective lenses. Just put them on and look at a tree. And based on that, you will be able to know if you need glasses or not. I was one day in the car. My mom has corrective lenses as well. One day in the car, I just put her glasses on for no particular reason. And I looked at the trees and I was like, oh shit, I'm in Narnia. Like, I could see the individual leaves, which is not something I could do before I had my glasses. And so that is how I figured out that I needed corrective lenses.
So when you were given a leaf, or like when you picked one up, did you...
I never made that connection of like, oh, there's more detail here whenever it's up close. Like,
Really?
Trees were just green blobs, more or less. I mean, like, there was movement there, and like if I got close enough, I could make it out, but I just thought that was how
The world
it was.
Wow.
Until I put on glasses. So yeah, that's my pro tip. If you think you might need glasses, find a pair of... One, go to the optometrist. But if you don't want to go to the optometrist before you know, or you want to know before you go to the optometrist, just find a pair of glasses, put them on, and look at a tree. It's the best way to do it. Personal opinion. But as far as like lenses for the sake of having lenses, I personally am a fan of fashion at the end of the day. And I don't mean like Kanye fashion in the sense of like, we're just gonna
wear burlap sacks.
Here's a burlap sack for $150. Like, I don't mean that kind of fashion or like crazy fashion where we're gonna make this girl wear angel wings. I mean fashion in the sense of like practical, modern clothing that helps you look good and is also functional, right? Okay. That's what I mean. And to me, I think glasses are a way that people express themselves, one way or another. I mean, if you look at my glasses, these were originally some Ray-Ban sunglasses that I had made into regular glasses, and they have a crossbar at the top, and they're like tortoise shell with some blue streaks in them, which is like rather unique and different, right?
Yeah.
And so I think people who are fashion forward use glasses as a way to express themselves. And if you don't need glasses, you have this entire accessory class that is inaccessible to you until come the pointless glasses, other than fashion, like the non-corrective glasses. I shouldn't say pointless. So yeah, I don't know that if I didn't need glasses, I don't know that I would ever get any.
Think about how weird the concept, but I agree with you. The glasses are a fashion statement. They're a piece of your individuality coming out and being able to express that. But imagine how strange that would be for any other sense. Like, imagine if your hearing aid, you got the Ray-Ban version, turned it into a real hearing aid, and now everyone just wears fake hearing aids to look cool. Like, that's weird, right? Like, isn't it crazy how glasses have taken that primary role?
Yeah.
And like having bad eyesight, I mean, unless you're blind, it's not considered a disability nowadays. Yeah. I mean, like we joke about it.
It's because it's so easily correctable, you know?
Right. You just put this weird lens in front of your eyeballs that distorts light.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
There's so much stuff in our world that I'm like, what the hell?
And how did they
Here, look
figure
through
it out?
this piece of glass, and now it's fine.
Now you can see.
Like, there's so many little things like that I'm just like, who figured that out?
And then contacts. Just wear this glass on your eyeball.
Just put it right there.
Put it, and then you can blink over it.
And no one even knows unless they
Nobody
look
will
real
know.
closely. Yeah, that's crazy to me. But I think you hear the saying that, fashion cycles. Everything comes back around. What used to be cool falls out of fashion, and then it comes back in one way or another.
Right.
And I think when I was first shopping for a pair of glasses, whenever I was like probably 14 or 15 years old, so this was 7 years ago, roughly. I was shopping for glasses, and I was in junior high, and I was like, I've never worn glasses before. Kids are gonna make fun of me because I'm wearing glasses, etc. And the woman who was working in the glasses store, wherever, was like, hey, glasses can be a fashion statement, and like glasses are coming back around. It used to be like in the, I don't know when, but it used to be people would wear just frames. Right, it used to be like a fashion thing, and then it fell out of style, and it was nerdy to wear glasses, and so that's why contacts became such a big thing. Is there was this push within popular culture to get rid of your glasses,
right?
And so that's not like where contacts originated, but that's how they were popularized. Is it's like, look, you don't have to wear glasses, and those hurt your nose and are nerdy. Wear contacts. And so I was talking to her, and she's like, glasses are coming back around. And so I think glasses are here right now. Right. They're going to stay here for a little while. And then it's going to be like, glasses are bogus.
Bogus glasses.
Like, I think in the future, puffy jackets, our kids are going to make fun of us for puffy jackets.
You know, if you think, you remember the great movie Back to the Future, when main character Marty McFly, I think that's his name. He was wearing a puffy vest, like a really puffy vest.
Yeah,
and everyone made fun of him until like 2 or 3 years ago. Everybody was wearing puffy vests.
I know,
and everybody is still wearing. I think they call, isn't this like the Thermoball North Face?
Yeah, the North Face Thermoball.
Yes, yeah. And you know, puffy jacket. I'm sure there's a ton of science behind why the puffy jacket's like the best ever, and I believe it is. But
it's just really good at trapping air.
Yeah, I guess so.
And keeping it in. But yeah, I mean, they are super functional, and right now they look good. Right now, to us, just like in the 70s, scrunchies and neon colors looked good
and
to them.
High-waisted bell-bottom
which
jeans.
Is a ridiculous notion. But and so I think, you know, whenever we're 40, maybe puffy jackets will still be a thing just because of how functional they are.
Right.
But, like, also, they look like they're trying to be the future too hard. And I feel like in the future, they're going to be like, ha, y'all were trying to be cool. But I feel like really, in the future, this.
It's just going to be so sleek. Everything, well, I mean, that's obviously like the generic future version, but that's kind of what I see. Like, just this one layer of fabric that's stupid, ridiculous,
paper thin.
Yeah, and it's gonna be like you're putting on, I don't know, you're wrapping yourself in like the thickness of a flat sheet bed sheet, and it's gonna go around your body, and it's just gonna be incredibly warm and also connect to your smartphone.
Yeah, and it'll have settings, so like it can be breathable if you're in the desert, and it's like the coolest thing ever. And then if it's really, really cold outside, you just.
And then you get the rain edition, and it just pops up with like a little hood umbrella thing above your head. That, like, I feel like material technology.
That's the next step.
It's all materials, man.
I think that's the next step. I think, honestly, what happens is we're moving into wearables, so wearable tech. We've got our watches. Like, Google Glass was obviously a thing that failed, but there are more glasses products coming out now that are being worked on. And then I think, so it goes from accessories into what we actually wear. So, like, smart clothing to a degree. And right now we have that, and it's very expensive, but it reacts to your body temperature as well as outside temperature, etc., and it will change. There's also self-healing fabrics, so, like, you cut it and then it will, like, mend itself, which is crazy.
Here's my question. I think smart fabrics, they have a possibility to really make an impact, but do you think people wear the same clothes enough to justify spending a lot of money on a piece of clothing that's going to be wearable tech?
I don't know about. So it depends. It depends on what you quantify as a lot of money, because if we get good enough to it to where, hey, this smart shirt is $60, you know, then absolutely. And we can do different colors and patterns, etc., because people spend $100 on a shirt now, and now it's going to be a really nice shirt. And so, I mean, if you can get it down to that price point, absolutely. But it also depends on what the functionality is. If you tell me, hey, you can spend $80 on this smart shirt, and it's never going to get stained, and it will heal if it gets cut or burned or something like that, and it is really breathable but also really good at blocking wind and will change based on the ambient temperature around you. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
that's pretty dope.
That really is.
I would pay $80 for that. I'd pay $100 for that.
But I feel like it would be okay. Pay $1,000 for that.
Oh, for like currently, absolutely.
Right.
But I feel like if any company is going to push that and really do that, the goal is to make it affordable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sure, we have $1,000 shirt. Who's going to buy that? Very few. Those are at something that's at that price. Your market is cut to the 1% most likely for $1,000 on a shirt, and then it's cut further to the 1% that actually care about niche technology that's on the fringe, right?
Right.
It's like Tesla. No one will care about an EV that's $500,000, or even $100,000. I mean, the 1%ers will, and that'll be cool if it's got really great specs. But Tesla's most popular vehicle is the Model 3. Why? Because entry level, we're at like $30,000, or
Right.
below that, right? Or is it 32? What is it?
I know the performance package is like 35.
Yeah, so like entry levels around $30,000. Now people care. Oh, I can get an EV that's super sleek and modern for $30,000, whereas I can get a regular vehicle that is not as cool or has the same clout for about the same price or a little bit less. I'm gonna go with the EV. It's the same principle.
So there's economic competitiveness for sure. Absolutely, they're definitely. And I guess that is a big role. I'm just trying to think like back to the iPhone when that first came out. It was like something new and revolutionary, but there were smartphones out there, and I'm guessing they were expensive. But you know, technology has certain advantages over technology woven into your clothes, right? You don't subject your phone to a liquid wash cycle every week. You know, you're not technically, you know, you're not putting it out there against the elements per se. You know, and for clothes, you to get a lot of good wear out of your technology, you'd have to wear it every day. It'd have to survive the wash cycle, and it'd have to still find a way to be useful. Now, maybe in the future, when everything's like, you know, resources come into play here, and we're thinking about other things, maybe it would be advantageous to have 6 shirts or 7 shirts in your closet, and then you would just put one on every single day, and maybe you go tap tap, I want a blue shirt today. Blue.
It'll make that noise.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, I mean that would be something that would be woven into the technology. If we're talking like truly smart fabric, I don't see why a chameleon effect would, and you could choose the color, you know,
that'd be
like
cool.
or a pattern or anything like that. Because the thing is that guess what? Your one shirt that you just spent $300 on, or what? See, that brings the price point up a little bit because this one shirt just became 1,000 different shirts depending on the limiting factors of the technology. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you don't.
That'd be crazy.
That would be
if you
insane.
Could go on like Pinterest or something, go find a cool shirt idea or a color scheme, and then just upload to iShirt.
To iShirt, Apple's on it.
I don't know. I feel like the material technology is not quite there yet.
Oh, it's definitely not.
But I think material science
moving there.
Is like what everybody's researching right now. Like across a majority of engineering fields, all the cool people are like nanotech, and how can I relate that to materials?
I mean, well, the thing is that the reason that's such a big deal, at least in how I interpret it, is because we have done just about everything that we can do with naturally occurring materials. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we have optimized the lithium-ion battery as much as we can. So we gotta screw with some stuff and make some new materials to get a better battery, or play with some alloys, or etc. So with naturally occurring materials, I think we've more or less hit the peak or the pinnacle. So it's going to start becoming synthetic things that we synthesize, and they're made of elements, these synthetic things, or these naturally occurring elements, but they're formed and manufactured in such a way that is not natural. And I think that's why material science is such a big deal, is because we've progressed about as far as we can with things that just are as they are found, you know.
Have you done any looking in to graphene?
Yeah,
that is.
It was promised as this like everything material. Okay, honestly, I watched this YouTube video about it.
Okay,
you can find a lot of parallels between plastic and graphene in how the media covered it.
What do you mean plastic?
So plastic. So in like whenever plastic was invented, I don't even remember what it was, but like
60s maybe?
Yeah, so when it was first invented, it was very expensive to synthesize. It was like this unnatural material that doesn't stain and is water resistant but is malleable and is extremely light and is like it can do everything. Mm-hmm. Graphene can do everything, right?
Right.
But and so it was interesting how plastic was covered in the sense of, oh my gosh, this is a revolutionary material. And it was for the time, and it still is in a lot of ways, but it also has a lot of negative drawbacks. But the media covered it as plastic can do everything. And graphene was also covered as graphene can do everything. And it is a really interesting material, but I think there were some promises that were made with graphene that aren't necessarily true, or we're years and years away from being able to use graphene in the manner that it was promised.
I think the mid 2000 teens and early 2000 teens was like the biggest point in our lifetimes when we saw crazy technology come out and then it be flops.
Yeah.
Do you remember hydrogen fuel cell cars?
Yes.
Remember when those were supposed to be the thing that our cars were supposed to spit out
put water in here?
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you just put, water in it, it takes CO2 and turns it into some other stuff, and then boom, it just pops out as like water. Just powered your car.
That would be awesome if the energy density was high enough, but I think that was the issue, right?
Yeah, there were several issues. The first is that the membranes that you have to use a membrane reactor to do this, and it's based on like the surface area of the membrane.
So,
but here's the thing: like the most optimized hydrogen fuel cell can generate like 1 horsepower per foot squared. Square foot.
Oh, what an L! A whole square foot.
A whole square. So imagine like a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, roughly 1 square foot. One normal piece of paper. You would have to have like 500 of these lined up to like be the equivalent of like a fast car, right?
And that's just not possible.
No, it is not possible.
And the thing is also, anytime you add weight in there with that, you're going to slow the car down and decrease its efficiency, and so you're just screwed.
Like you said, the energy density of gasoline is so freaking optimized. It's actually kind of stupid.
Well, I mean, to a degree. So you said gasoline, correct? I just want to
make sure.
Yeah. Well,
octane.
Like, I mean, they work really well for what we need them to do, but we lose so much in heat energy. Right? I mean,
I guess.
I think our most optimized gasoline car engines are only like 40% efficient.
Well,
right?
Anytime you have internal combustion,
you're just blowing shit up.
You're blowing shit up, and you're trying to capture the pressure energy. You're not really capturing the heat energy. Mm-hmm. So, and we have to counteract that by powering cooling systems to cool down the engine. So, yeah, you could say that. But when you think about how much energy is packed into like per weight of
from that perspective,
hydrocarbon
absolutely.
chains, it's just stupid.
It's just
too good. Like the only thing that beats it is like nuclear reactors, and even then, all the cooling systems.
Dude, when we figure out fusion, though, it's gonna be dope.
I hope we do. I hope nuclear takes over. I think nuclear is the only thing that's the only alternative energy that could really be an alternative.
Andrew Yang came out and he was like, thorium reactors. It's what we're doing.
Sure. I like it.
Yeah, so...
Go for it.
Yeah. Is this differential equations, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, Seth has some papers on his desk, and he moved them around, and what is this, a Bernoulli? I don't even remember. DE.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Differential equations.
Speaking of just presidential candidates with Andrew Yang, Beto dropped.
Yeah, he did.
I didn't like him.
I thought he was just weird. And
He's just weird. Hell yeah, we're gonna take your guns. I'm not super pro gun. I just thought that was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you fell for him because there was like a mass shooting kind of like in his hometown where he represents, and he had to be upset about it. Like he had to show some kind of emotion there, but
yeah.
his reaction was just so, childish and unrestrained. I think it really turned off a lot of people. And again, like the biggest voting block for this election is not going to be either side's base. It's going to be suburban women.
Really?
So,
Further
yes.
explain.
Suburban
women.
Suburban women, people in the suburbs, women, more likely to vote than men, statistically, and not in major cities, and not
Which
super
is
rural.
so interesting.
There are a lot of reasons behind all of that I'm sure we could go into.
I think big elections should be a national holiday, personally.
Oh, well, I do too.
Oh, wow.
One of the things that I worked on while I was Senate here on campus, with the Senate here on campus, was to try and make Election Day a school holiday. But the administration was like, no. We have a certain number of holidays, and Election Day is not one of them.
You said, well, how about we remedy that situation and add another holiday?
Yeah, seriously. But, no, I think suburban women are key. I think people voting in general is tough to do. Like, if you think about it.
Yeah.
What does the average person have to do to go vote?
They either have to get up stupid early.
Right. On a Tuesday.
Yeah. So that they're there before work. Or they take their lunch break to go.
Right.
Or they leave work early.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what a lot of people do, which means there's super long lines, which results in late polling results and all kinds of crap.
So the question is, like, why don't people vote? Is it because they don't care?
No, it's because it's a bitch.
I think so, too. Like, if you could vote for a national election online and they could find some way to make sure that was secure and safe.
Everyone would do it.
Yeah.
Or I won't say everyone. I just feel like 70% of people would do it.
Yeah. I think your voter participation rate would double.
Easy.
Yeah. I think it's about access, and it's about convenience, and for a lot of people, like it's just too much to ask for them to take a day out of their life.
Thing is that I know people who they hate going to the grocery store when they don't have anything to eat.
Right.
And they're like, I gotta go to the grocery store
stupid
and buy food that I need. And so, like, if you take it to an election process where there's a lot of America that is very disenchanted with the whole Washington situation, of course you're going to have low voter turnout. Half of America thinks their vote doesn't count, or that nothing's going to get done anyway. And they're kind of right. In both respects, I mean, look at popular vote doesn't matter. I'm not saying we need to get rid of the Electoral College. I think that's there for a reason. But popular vote doesn't matter. Otherwise, Hillary Clinton would have won.
Well, popular vote in your state doesn't matter if you're not from, like, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin.
Exactly. Which those are key states, right?
I think they're the only key states.
Exactly.
Like this upcoming in Florida.
So popular vote doesn't matter. So your vote doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, every vote counts and they all add up. Yes, but like, is your vote going to swing an election?
In the national, like, general presidential election, for probably 90% of Americans, your vote doesn't matter.
Exactly.
That being said, you still get to vote on a ton of, like,
other
local
things.
elections. You get to vote on representative, your county supervisor, whatever else you can vote for. And obviously your vote matters then. Like, voting you don't just vote for the president. You vote for
True.
a lot of people.
True.
So I think in the national general presidential election, your vote doesn't matter. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of the political theory belief that whoever is president doesn't really matter that much.
Oh, no, I 100% agree with that. I think so many people put way too much weight on the president because in today's political climate, with our two-party system, the president, big major things, hardly ever go through or get done.
I think the president gets one. I think you get one thing. And it could fail.
Exactly.
Like it could definitely fail. You have a bunch of political capital and you burn it. Like Trump got some tax cuts passed, and I don't know.
But like those have a time limit on them, you know? And then like everything else is executive action, which guess what? In 4 years, someone else could come and undo everything you did.
Right. There's no staying power.
And so that's the political balance, though. And so I mean, if America stays exactly where it is for the rest of my lifetime, relatively speaking, that's fine with me. You know, from a political perspective,
it's kind of weird though to sit here and think that like America's going to drive itself. Like it's kind of why are we the best country in the world if it just seems to drive itself? Like who's making the decisions here?
Yeah,
I think that's kind of an uncomfortable thought process.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird. But I also think that America's going to have to, sooner rather than later, come to terms with the fact that we are not the most powerful nation in the world. I think right now we are. But I think China is just, like, we can't compete with them.
Yeah, I think it depends on
so?
what you mean by the strongest country in the world. I think military presence, I think we still got the world fucking dominated.
I mean, for sure.
So the world's largest Air Force is the U.S. Air Force. The world's second largest Air Force is the U.S. Navy. And we have more aircraft carriers than every country
We
combined.
have like 14 or something stupid, and the rest of the world has like...
I think China
like
has like
7
2.
total.
I think Russia has like 5.
France has 1, but it's from like World War II era.
You know, it's just one of those things where
we're
I feel
over
like
here with
American hegemony, their sphere of influence is kind of like everywhere except China and I guess North Korea. You know, it's one of those things. Now, economically, you could definitely make some arguments there, and I mean, sure, obviously, we're not the best country to like grow up in, like our education rates, homicide rates, things like that. Obviously, not. You're better off, you know, living in Sweden and
seriously, Denmark,
doing
Scandinavia,
doing one of those.
They're
countries.
so happy.
They're just good people who all look the same and give out free things.
Yeah, but I would say we're also losing in sentiment in the idea that throughout Asia and Africa, people either don't give a shit about America or actively hate America. Like either or.
You think we're losing the publicity?
But people love China. Like from what I understand, in the sense that China has poured so what does America do? America says, we'll give you aid money as long as you shut up and vote the way that we tell you to at the UN, and you let us put military bases in your country. Right? China says, hey, we're going to build infrastructure in your country. We're just going to help you guys out. We would love to form some trade relationships. We would love to be your friend. Which is shady as fuck, because we all know
that they're gonna call one day.
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, "You're doing this."
Yeah,
that's definitely going to happen.
But China's starting to win.
You think so?
I think in the political game,
like in the global
political game, absolutely. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because I don't think America needs to be the world's police.
No.
I'm kind of tired of that.
No, there's no reason to be.
I mean, like, I get it. Whenever we see atrocities and things like that here and there, and like refugees being massacred, like, there's a level of humanity where it's like, hey, that shouldn't be a thing. That's kind of effed up, right? But also, like, you can point to numerous things in America's history where it's like, why'd we do that? We did that just because we wanted to flex and maintain, like, hey, we're bigger than you, and what we want to happen is going to happen.
And I think this is one of the few scenarios where the president really does matter. His control of the military, and a lot of these, military attacks is like declaring war on a random thing will either be the best thing that happened to your country or a horrible failure. And recently, I think it's been a lot of horrible failures.
Yeah, I mean, war on drugs, awful.
Right.
War on terror, meh.
Yeah, it
pretty
was
bad.
Kind of a mess situation.
Pretty bad. Well, I mean, if we're kind of meh, there's been some positives out of it, but mostly negatives. Major destabilization in the Middle East, huge power vacuums. ISIS is literally our fault.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
it's because we went in there, destroyed the government, and then pulled out, and we're like, you guys got this. And they did not have it.
They did not have it.
They did not.
Nobody had it. Nobody had it. And so, like, that's our fault. And we're suffering those consequences. So, I mean, I would say the war on terror was obviously an L.
And now we have this war on trade, I guess.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, I'm not educated enough on the war on trade to be able to say, like, yes, I have this opinion of it. I just, honestly, I think Trump is a really important figure to have right now at this moment in time.
Really? Important in...
I think that as America, we're going to look back at this time and just be like, what the hell? What?
Man, those were some years.
Yeah. And I mean that in the sense that he has defined an era. Like one man who honestly doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Has defined like American politics, policy, economic, like
he's rewritten the books,
everything,
and he's an idiot.
And he probably did it by accident.
And he's really funny.
Like, I mean, the thing is I wouldn't say Trump is an idiot. Like, I think he is smart, but not book smart. I don't think he's intelligent.
He's street smart, too?
I don't think he's intelligent.
I think people have this perception that he's either like an evil mastermind or a bumbling idiot. And I kind of think he's definitely closer to the bumbling idiot.
I think so too, but I think he's really, really great at manipulation. And like I know how to mess with people. I think he is dumb at just about everything else, but he knows how to screw with people. And then he gets what he wants because of that.
And he knows how to be like a crowd pleaser really well.
Oh, for sure.
Like I think crowds love him. His voice, like the way he talks in a very like broken up style, is very conducive to a lot of big laughs. Like I rewatched the debates, like the Republican,
because you'd be in jail
debates. They were so funny when Megyn Kelly was like, "You've called women fat pigs, ugly slobs," like all these horrible names.
Yeah.
Like, only Rosie O'Donnell. Like, everybody laughed super hard. It was so fun. Oh my god.
But I mean, that's the thing, is that from that perspective, he's almost bulletproof. And so you have the politically correct crowd and
right.
the who just foam at the mouth about these things. But all of middle America, and honestly at least half of America, doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't care if he calls women fat. There are fat women out there. You know? Like,
in that sense, he's the perfect political candidate.
Exactly. And so I think he is very important for this time, because I think he's just made everybody just think.
Like think about, like, what system did we create here that allowed this to happen? And And, you know, it's not like Trump is, like, the biggest terrible thing. Like I said, I don't think the president honestly matters that much to, like, how America does.
At least for the long term. He might matter, like, in this moment.
Look, he doubled the standard deduction, and, you know, now we pay more for things from China. Like, that's kind of the extent of what he did. But in the sense of political candidacy and what makes a good political candidate, I think we just live in such a cutthroat environment in the political world. That's kind of the person you have to be. You just have to be bulletproof and good at crowds.
But I mean, what politician says, I could stand in the middle of Main Street and shoot somebody and nobody would care? Like, he said that.
Right.
And, that's genius.
And, the news blows up about it, and the fact that they do blow up about it all the time.
And he laughs.
Yeah.
And all of his base laughs.
And, middle America doesn't care.
And it's awesome.
And it really is. It's really funny because, if Obama said something like that, it would, it'd be crazy. It'd be the end of his presidency. Yeah. Trump says stuff like that every week.
But that's because he defined, this is who I am.
Right.
If you come out as the super polished politician, cardboard dude who everybody's same super song, clean, same dance,
right.
You can't say that. Mm-hmm. And then you come out and you go, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, and then you're screwed, right? Trump doubles down on everything.
At least he's genuine. He is super genuine.
He's himself. He could say, I love punching babies. Legitimately. And look people in the eye and say that. And people would just laugh. And then he would say, I punch babies regularly. And people would be like, you're a genius.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Trump really tapped into something and made a larger point about human nature.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm 75% sure he did that on accident.
Like ran for president. He was like, I'm going to do this presidency thing, and it's going to be great for my ratings.
Yeah.
When I drop out later, when I can't win. Oh.
I'm here.
I'm polling at 40% now. I go back to those debates because I think it was such a funny... It was when we were still being introduced to Donald Trump, and he was like the only person that wouldn't take a pledge not to run as a third-party candidate. He's like, well, I'll win. Why do we need to have a discussion? And then when he and Jeb Bush were going at it, he'd be like, Jeb, every debate you move further to the outside, and I stay right here in the center.
Dude, Jeb was such a sad little rag of a candidate. I mean, my gosh.
No chance against a guy like Trump.
Please clap. That quote was rough. Yeah, but I think Trump is a super interesting guy. I think we're gonna learn a lot, not from him or his presidency, but the environment in which he was born from. Right. I think he is not the problem or the solution, depending on what your viewpoint is. I think he is the symptom of the culture and where we are in time, in the sense that we have a guy who effectively suffers from extreme narcissism and stays up till 3 a.m. on Twitter, and he's like 80. Like what?
Like running our country.
What?
Like this man has the nuclear launch codes.
Like that's ridiculous.
Like he blocks people on Twitter regularly. Like he's so funny.
That's awesome.
It really is.
But it's also ridiculous.
But the whole Trump thing was a big F you to our political system.
Absolutely.
And I think it was people being fed up with nothing happening, nothing changing. The same people running for the same positions, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
So America will have to make a decision here in 2020. Are we gonna make a change? Are we going to stick with what we have? Like, who is going to, be a good candidate? So
do you think he's gonna win again? If you had to guess,
it really depends. It really depends on these suburban women.
There's a dude who says he's from the future that says he wins by a fraction of a hair.
I can see that happening.
He's from 2050, apparently.
Oh, well.
Yeah. There's also some calamity that happens in 2021.
Yeah.
Or 2020, I don't know.
Is that because it's 2012 with the numbers flipped? So I watched that movie.
Yeah.
I remember 2012.
Dude, the apocalypse is such an interesting concept. We talked about the zombie apocalypse, but like the rapture.
Think about
Think about the rapture. You're just talking to someone, poof.
And then poof.
And you're like, ah, damn it.
I guess it wasn't me this time.
Yeah, this time.
Yeah, the apocalypse is horrible. Imagine being a guy that's predicting the apocalypse. Like, when you're wrong, you're wrong. When you're right, who cares?
Yeah, you lose both ways all the time.
Yeah, why? Why would you...
Also, like, the apocalypse is just a manifestation of just humanity constantly being scared.
Yeah,
of
paranoia.
Like, what if things are not as they are right now?
Yeah, your life, it's so beautiful. What if it just ended?
Everything sucked.
What if bunnies came down from the sky and just ate and we died, all of us?
Everybody was murdered by murderous bunnies.
Everyone was murdered by alien murder bunnies. Then what would you do? Mm-hmm.
You would die.
Yeah.
That's what you would do.
Yeah. Then you would like your Hollywood mansion and your $100,000 cars.
I mean, that's the thing is that, like, in the apocalypse, do you want to be alive? You know, there's all the TV shows that are like, oh, you're fighting for survival. And obviously, evolutionarily, we are compelled to seek safety and survival.
Right.
You know, whether you believe that is because of a soul and you have a purpose here on Earth, or because you believe we are animals who are here to move our genes forward. Mm-hmm. You know, for whatever reason, we are compelled to survive. But like, if you're in the apocalypse,
I mean, what's the rush?
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah, I get that. I think
Doomsday preppers are the most pointless thing ever.
Doomsday preppers.
I mean, like, there are these, like, Post Malone is supposedly a doomsday prepper. He has a bunker somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are very wealthy people, and even just, like, regular people who, like, build bunkers and, like, have a year's worth of non-perishable food supplies underground and are ready. But, like,
I think,
like, why even spend the resources on that?
All that really does is make you really well prepared for minor disasters. Like, imagine if there's a hurricane. That would be sweet. Like, your power's out for a week. Awesome. I mean, actual fallout happens or something.
It's an absolute L. Yeah, game over.
I mean, what are you going to do? Just sit in your bunker all day and, like, play closed-circuit video games on your Honda generator?
It's like, that's not even worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many campaigns you can play.
Closed circuit video games on your Honda generator.
Yeah.
I love that.
You'd just plug it in and you'd play, like, the same campaign to Call of Duty Black Ops.
That's a t-shirt. Or something. We're selling merch soon, everybody.
It's coming. Well, whiskey of the week.
Wotwa. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
But I think we're coming up on our hour.
I'd say we've passed our hour.
By a couple of minutes. Yes, we have. All right, quickly, Connor, what is your final rating for 1792 small batch?
You know, I'd say it's a good time. Honestly, I think mine tastes different.
Really?
You know,
maybe
I'm gonna do something a little different.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna walk away for like 15 seconds and go grab mine. I'll
go
be
for
right
it.
Back.
So, to fill you guys in, Connor and I, we meet up every week, and one of us normally gets the whiskey. This week, we both brought a whiskey bottle, and it happened to be the same bottle.
Yeah, we failed to communicate.
Which, unfortunate, but it happens. Mm-hmm. So now Connor has another bottle of
supposedly the same whiskey.
The same whiskey, and we're about to shoot a little couple drops.
All right, here we go. Mine burns more.
I think yours is spicier. I don't know how to describe it, but it's distinctly different. And
they're the same, color, though.
Well, that is wild. Yeah, they're the same. I mean, there's small batch 1792, same alcohol percentage, same everything, same bottle. but they definitely taste different.
I like it. I'm giving it a 8.75.
I think I'm going to go up to an 8.65.
It's good. It's good, everybody.
Try it.
If you want to, you can email us at
Nonsense in Nothingness.
That's the letter N.
The letter N.
Nonsense and Nothingness at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
We're going to respond to you. Probably. I honestly haven't checked the mail in a while.
I check it every day because it pulls up as my default
really?
email on this computer. Yes.
No one's emailed us, have they?
No.
Our subscriber count is steadily growing, though.
Well, that's good. We're getting some exposure.
So thank you, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to post this up.
We're going to throw it up there. Let's see what
I
happens.
enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoy it as well. Go grab yourself a bottle of 1792 and give us a listen.
And remember,
Be nothing.